Welcome everybody to Tuesday Night. I'm your host MC Toon, and I got my I turned on my microphone so you can hear me this time, unlike last night. So starting off on the right track, at least I hope so. Let me know if I'm not. Anyway, right now Craig FTFE is doing a live stream. He's doing a long one. I talked to him. He's going to take a little break for a bit, but he might join me on this one. Today I set up a time to go on the Earth Awakenings Discord server, which is a large number of the people there are flatties, and I'm gonna do what they said to do. I'll give the introduction when I'm on there, but anyway, thank you everybody for joining. I didn't put the link to it in the description. Maybe somebody could post a link to the Discord server if you want to pop in. This is not like an organized thing where I will be like given any special privilege, though I did ask Geo, the runner of the Discord server, if I could do this. So it's not a surprise to him, people know, but this isn't like everybody stop talking. Although if you're on there, I'd appreciate it if you gave me a little more latitude than if I was just, hanging out. Anyway, here comes, I'm going to pop in there right now, and right here coming in.
Like you fly around the drone. Well, they made one that uses just purely electrostatics, and they could fly it around.
Using ionizing the air around it, and then taking that ionized air and forcing it downward. Yeah. Because now that it's ionized, you can magnetically force the air down.
So you're saying there
it only works for incredibly light vehicles, but in a way, it's like an ion thruster on a spacecraft.
Yeah,
it ionizes the gas, and then it magnetically repels it.
And it's a very, very, very weak force that ionizing. Yeah, very, very weak. It's the same. It's the same force as a piece of paper resting on.
Does it ionize or does it polarize it enough that it can accelerate it?
MC2.
What's up, guys? I thought, and I don't know, because ionizing gas takes a lot of heat, but I thought that it might be, maybe it's just polarizing it enough to accelerate it, but I don't know. That's not what I mean. I talked to Geo, in case you don't know, I talked to Geo about coming in here and having a little presentation. Yeah. So, I don't know if you guys... All right. Well, good. I am live now, so everybody knows I'm live on YouTube. So if you don't want to be live, then don't say anything, I guess. I just want to say something first, a little bit not to the topic, but I've heard, as long as I've been doing paying attention to the Flat Earth group, I've been told that the Flat Earth Society is controlled opposition, and that they are doing what they're doing to make flat earthers look bad. And yesterday we had something that absolutely would be something that could be considered something to make flat earthers look bad. So for reference, I've been on the forums over at the Flat Earth Society. They're generally nice people. They don't make all sorts of false accusations. They're weird about stuff. They have some different ideas, but they probably make flat earthers look like decent people more than a lot of other places I've been. But yesterday on this server, not any fault of anybody here who runs it, but a flat earther came in and was being absolutely horrible. Just one of the most disgusting humans on the planet. Not even gonna give any name to give them credence. That is, though, that if there is controlled opposition, that is controlled opposition, because it does make flat earthers look bad. And what really was bad about it was the couple flat earthers that were in the server at the time were not confronting this person and saying, hey, you should stop doing that. You're making flat earthers look bad. That's a bad look too.
Whatever QOP doesn't reflect on the rest of us.
It was not QOP. And then one more.
QOP.
Yeah, one more thing. Then there's a flat earther that has been on this server and has been posting pictures of underage boys. and it is a flat earther, and other flat earthers are not calling out this person for saying, hey, why are you posting pictures of underage boys? Why do you have pictures of underage boys on your phone that you would post? The name of this person is Tarrant. I'm always shocked to hear when flat earthers so often make these accusations about people doing things with children, but baselessly make these accusations as some sort of a retort against a scientific position, as if they care about that really bad. And then they will hang out with somebody like Tarrant, who actually does have photographs of underage boys on his device and is posting them on this server. So okay, I would.
Can I let me jump in?
Yeah. Okay.
Tarrant is not. He's not on this server. He's not here, and he's not doing that here. I know about his channel. I know about him. He was on this server for a very brief period a while back. He has many different accounts too. He was using 5, 6, 7 accounts. Yeah. I think he has a bunch of YouTube accounts. Anyways, he's not on this server. Hasn't been here in a long time, and that's not happening here. But
I appreciate that. And Gio, you're always fair. And I want to give that just as a challenge to the flat earthers to say, do better. Gio, you are doing better, and others, I think some people could step up and you could talk to your own people and say, hey, let's not be like that, and let's police ourselves and stuff like that. So we police ourselves. We had not long ago a guy that we discovered had been had wound up in jail for doing that kind of stuff, and we're like, you're out of here, no more. Anyway,
we act like we have group meetings or something every fucking Sunday and go to church or something together. Like, this is just a fucking open platform where people come and choose a side on what, aligns with their ontology or cosmology the best, what have you.
True.
I don't know why you're acting like we have some sort of control over what the general populace decides to do.
No, but you could challenge them. You could say, hey, stop it. And nobody did. Nobody did until a moderator, Jeremy, showed up and put a stop to it. So the flat earthers were like, they're just letting them.
I don't know who Tarrant is. I'm sorry. We don't hang out with that guy. Maybe you should stop talking with him. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't talk with them.
The thing that happened yesterday, to be fair, Gio or Jeremy was not in the room.
Yeah.
I think.
And that was, not their fault. They just weren't here.
Right.
And that's.
I think they timed it so they could say all that stuff when that was the case. So
I wasn't here either.
Could have been.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was.
So anyway.
Yeah, but that person that you're mentioning, I don't really know that much about her. I've heard her go by a few different names. I think she has a bunch of different accounts. She's gone to other servers and done that same thing, and I think those servers like let it go on for hours. Of what I've over the months or whatever, I haven't heard of her other than somewhat recently. But yeah, I think that has happened on other channels and places. I think she has a whole thing with you, MC Toon, I guess. So I don't know if she's in your chat. Probably, I'd imagine you've had to moderate whatever. But
I don't give her any leeway at all. If she shows up, she's out.
And then she's come in here like I think only like one other time, if I remember, and she actually was somewhat cordial-ish the first time she came in. But and then this other time, I did not hear it, but I came back later and I saw the DMs, and then I had to see what had happened. But yeah, it seemed like a situation where maybe there were not any mods in the room. And then she does a lot of like, if you want to say like Discord TOS, server TOS, all that stuff, violations. Like the stuff she's saying is way beyond, but anyways, so I unfortunately she was able to kind of on some sock account come in and do that. And I guess a mod didn't catch it early enough. So apologize.
So to you, Gio and Jeremy, good job when you did, like when Jeremy specifically, because he was here, he put an end to it. So did the right thing. So
it should be mentioned, however, that no one that was here said anything. Nobody said anything. No one said, wait a minute, what are you saying? Stop. The Globers did, but no one, that was very, very disappointing.
I haven't heard it. I only listened to like a minute of it, so I don't know who said what or what. Maybe it was a little bit of a whirlwind that people didn't know what to do or whatever. I don't know. Because somebody who's being that, because she also like when she does it, she doesn't stop talking. Like she just keeps saying stuff over.
Yes.
So it's kind of this like barrage, and like no one else can almost even say anything unless a mod steps in. So, but the thing is, on this server though, over the years, many people do jump in. Like if there's some kind of egregious behavior going on. So if no one did in that moment, that's one thing. But to try
what mods were here?
Make it sound like one side or the other, if you want to call it sides, of like a planar Earth versus a globe, somehow is or isn't accepting. I think generally people will speak up and say something, overall when there's egregious stuff happening. In that case, I don't know, I haven't heard it, but it's unfortunate if no one did or whatever happened. But that's why moderators, that's why we have moderation. Otherwise, a person like that would just do that every day nonstop. So
yeah, it was good.
So
it was good.
Which mods were here then when it happened?
Nobody was on the server at the moment, but Jeremy was logged in. But I think he was just away from his computer or something. So.
Well, I don't know how many, because I wasn't around either, but it was like, I'm going to guess there was probably just 15 or 20 on the panel, I'm guessing. And so it wasn't, and then maybe there weren't any mods like of those people. Because I think it was in the morning too. There might have just been a little empty spot where there might have been a little time where there wasn't a mod there. I'm not sure, but because I couldn't see who was in the, I could go back on the logs and see who was in the VC, but MC Tune, you were in there. I haven't gone back to listen to it, but you were in there earlier. So did you come in the morning and then, or other people were? There was 10 or 15.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It doesn't matter what time of day it was, really. I think it's fine to move past this. So.
All right, but in terms of making somebody look bad, I don't necessarily think that one person with their behavior necessarily makes a whole group look anyway, because she could be genuine in her position or non-genuine. But either way, whether that's the case, one person doesn't necessarily represent a whole perspective or viewpoint when it comes to like the difference between the Earth being stationary and planar versus a globe.
Yeah, my point was that for 8 years I've heard people say that the Flat Earth Society is controlled opposition to make flat earthers look bad, but they make flat Earth look good, actually. And I was just giving a counterexample of somebody that does, a singular person, well, Tarot and also, so two people that do make flat Earth look bad. So that's all, and not that you have to take responsibility for it. I just, like I said, when we had somebody that was a douche, we kicked him out. So, all right.
I always thought the Flat Earth Society originally started as like a debating group, and they wanted to try to debate like what they considered like an undebatable position as practice for debating.
What Red Cloud was saying was that he was surprised that no flat earthers were challenging.
I think that was his point too. Yeah, that there wasn't any flat earthers saying
here that I respect, and they were not appalled verbally, and that surprised me. And I've talked to one of them since, and he's very, very well balanced, and we chatted about it a little bit, but that was really all that was about.
I guess ideally we should have mods in here 24/7 since we're streaming 24/7 all the time. Technically, there are little blips though, where there might not be. The thing is, like, this goes into a deeper part of it, but it's actually very difficult to find mods that are fair and won't be really dominant or like overly mod abusing, like basically in this discussion, because it's so just the emotions, the energies, the dynamics. It's so complicated, and so I'm telling you right now that it's to have moderators that are fair and balanced and so on. So if anything, we err on the side of like not having any mods that are being unfair in terms of the actual discussion, to where there could be little moments where there's no mods around. And I can personally work to improve that. We are actually going to add a few new moderators soon, so that technically is our fault if it was a little gap where there was no mods there to do anything. But I would say it's safe to say that if any mod was there, they would have not allowed that to continue. So
I have full confidence that was definitely going to be the case. Yeah. And it is very, very difficult to find good moderators. Jeremy is excellent. You are excellent. Very, very well balanced. And it's difficult to find people like that. I'm not well balanced. I try to be.
Yeah, Jeremy's always pretty fair. All right. Are we ready to get to the presentation?
Let's get it started.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. So you mentioned, you had DM me, said you wanted to come by. Were you wanting to do like a stage show or no one with a hot mic or anything, or just do it in here?
I kind of like it a little more open. I'm fine with that for this. It's not as big of a presentation to kind of require that. So anyway, so I have over the last year and a half been doing been doing something that flat earthers have suggested that I do, because before TFE, before we went to Antarctica, flat earthers had said, talked about the sun and talked about stuff and had made claims that there is no 24-hour sun and things like that. And as evidence of the earth being flat. So they used things in the sky as evidence for earth being flat. And then after we went to Antarctica, then there's a subgroup that started saying, you can't use things in the sky to determine the shape of the ground. Now, that's ridiculous, and I'll get into why that's not the case. But that's fine. We can go measure the ground as well. So I'm like, well, let's go measure the ground. And I've done several of them. And so I recently was in Canada, and I drove between Moose Jaw and Regina, and I had looked on a map, and I saw there is a road that is super, super straight. It does not turn, it doesn't curve or anything like that. And I checked the latitude of the road, and yeah, it's very much the same the whole way. And then if you know Mikey Smith, he's famous for saying, it's in the song that I made for him, that the road there, which is the Trans-Canadian Highway, he says it's the flattest road in North America. And so while there is not zero change in elevation, there's little change in elevation. So that's a really good place to measure the ground. And so that's what I did. But you need a little bit of background information on that to understand how you can measure the ground in order to determine the shape of the earth. So I just put in the chat there a link to the Gaussian curvature by Gauss, his Theorema Egregium. So it's the amazing theorem is what he's called it. So it's a mathematical proof that's 200 years old in 2 years. So it's 198 years old that it's been proven math. Now in math, you can prove things. And so this has a mathematical proof. So if people disagree with it and you want to go and show that the proof is invalid, the door's open, and you probably, I don't know if they give Nobel Prizes in math. Do they? I don't know. Maybe. If they do, you could get it, because disproving a 200-year-old proven theorem would be major news. So anyway, there is that link so that people can follow along. And I'm going to assume that you're following along at home on Discord and everything there. And I'll just pop into, I have it up on my screen on YouTube, and I'm not going to go through all of it in depth. It's way too much to go through. It's a couple hours of lecture if you want to go watch. There's several YouTube videos that cover it. But the theorem is that there's two parts. And the first part is that you can, within the two-dimensional surface of an object. So the surface of a sphere is a two-dimensional surface. The surface of a box is a two-dimensional surface. You can go left, right, forward, back. You can't go up and down on the surface. The surface of a saddle is a two-dimensional surface, and the surface of a plane is a two-dimensional surface. So on the surface, without leaving the surface and without referencing anything outside the surface, you can look at and measure the surface and determine whether or not it's a sphere, or if it's flat, or if it's a saddle. And the theorem has two parts. The first part is that you can determine the shape. And the way it does that, if you look at the theorem, we've got these two coordinates, u and v. Those are the coordinates on the surface of the sphere. And then you've got x, y, and z, and those are the coordinates in the three-dimensional space outside the sphere. And so there's a relationship that this theorem identifies between them, so that you can then go and measure the surface and determine if it is spherical, flat, or saddle. Also, the second part of the theorem, this is really cool. The second part of the theorem uses, or the first part, the word to look at there is intrinsic. So your measurements are intrinsic. You're not looking outside. The second part of the theorem is that you can look extrinsic. You can look at things outside of the two-dimensional surface to determine the shape of the two-dimensional surface. So when flat earthers say you can't look at the sky to determine the shape of the ground, this theorem, which is 198 years proven math, disagrees with that assertion. And of course, like I said, the door is open to disprove it, but lacking a disproof, I'm going to stick with the proven math. So the background information there, you can determine the shape of the Earth by measuring distances on the surface. And so there's the background. Now, what did I do? Well, I measured the starting and stopping position of my car at the beginning and ending of the map. Not the map, the road there. And so I'll put in the chat. I put in earlier today, and I don't expect that anybody necessarily picked it up, but I'll drop in the chat the beginning and ending latitude, longitude. Now, somebody had complained saying, well, you know, that's just a spherical coordinate system, or that's just a globe assuming coordinate system. And yes, you're right. So anybody that uses a GPS can use these coordinates and then can identify where they are. And if they want, you can translate them into whatever other coordinates you prefer. And unless you're Amish, you're able to do this. The Amish would likely not be using technology in order to do that. But the rest of us can. If you have a smartphone, you can do it. It's included in your smartphone. So the complaints about, oh, well, you can't use, you can't use these coordinates, but that's fine. You'll translate to whatever you want. So anyway, I will, to save your typing, I will put into both chats here, the lat long. So there is, the question then is to everybody, not flat earthers, not globers, everybody. Hey, concavers, if you're around, you're invited too, to show, according to your assumption of the shape of the Earth, the distance that your assumption says should be along the surface. Now, also some people were saying, well, we're just you. I'm not going to believe your assumption. I'm not going to, you're just doing things based on an assumption. Like, well, yeah, that's what a hypothesis is, right? In your hypothesis, you have some things that are not confirmed. So if you're like, well, you're assuming this and assuming this, well, that's all fine. That's all part of the hypothesis. And so we take all of these things that are not confirmed, we call that the hypothesis. And then we take that, we make a prediction from that. And once we have that prediction, we go and we check whether it matches observation or experiment or reality or nature, whatever it is that you're testing there. So that's if you're familiar, that's how Feynman described how to do an experiment. Not all that different from what Karl Popper said, in that you have, in essence, a falsifiable hypothesis. So I have a falsifiable hypothesis that the Earth is a sphere and that it has a radius of 6,371 kilometers. And then when I travel and measure a certain distance, there's going to be a relationship between the distance I measure and the distance that it predicts. And if they don't match, if there's a big divergence between them, then that would be a falsification of the hypothesis. So there it is, asking to all of you, everybody, to bring forth your hypothesis and apply the hypothesis that you have to these coordinates. And there you go.
Well, first, let me say you're curving the x coordinate, right? By saying that it's a two-dimensional surface, you're curving the x coordinate. So, in other words, if I look forward and I'm on the surface of a sphere, I can't see that whole surface because it deviates. So you're automatically adding a dimension. Just verbally, you're puking.
So actually, in reality, within geometry, the surface of a sphere is a two-dimensional surface. And so you can have a two-dimensional coordinate system on it.
In spherical geometry, yeah. But like I just said, you can't see the surface. If my eyes are pinned to the surface, I can see to the right, to the left, as far as it'll go on a plane. I can see forward and backwards as far as it'll go geometrically. Okay. Now, if it's curving, I can't see, okay, because I'm having to deviate from that dimension. So yeah,
Okay.
like I said, you can verbally, geometrically, I'll grant you that, but in reality, no.
Okay. Well, so the challenge then to you is to not talk about the globe if you don't think that the Earth is a globe. The challenge to you is to bring forth your hypothesis of the shape of the Earth, and then we'll test your hypothesis. So if you think it's a saddle, or if you think it's concave, or if you think it's flat, or whatever you think it is, then bring your hypothesis forward. I have my hypothesis. I'll present that later. So you don't need to try to knock down my hypothesis. The fact is, if my hypothesis matches reality, then that confirms my hypothesis. If your hypothesis matches reality, that confirms your hypothesis. There's no emotions about it. This is just pure raw science. Let's just go and do the science. So does anybody here, Brian, hold on. If you don't have the answer to this, then I'll just let you not talk for now and maybe go get the answer. Who here does have a hypothesis that outputs the distance between those 2 points? Anybody at all?
Or better than that, you could just not let me talk and try and. Okay, so now you're going to science. So not geometrical anymore. Now it's science. So I would ask you to stick to one or the other, if you don't mind. And also, so you're claiming the shape of the Earth is a sphere. So you're the one with the claim initially, whether I make a claim or not. You're the one with the claim. And so, would you agree that when you walk outside, it looks spherical? You look up in the sky, you see a dome, right? Even if there's only a little bit of curvature as far as you can see locally, like say airplanes, clouds, all that. Even with the clouds, it does look like a dome, even though you're standing on one little flat patch of ground, right? And your little sphere of influence.
So Brian, I've asked a question, and so if you don't want to answer the question, then you are free to not participate in this conversation. But I'm giving the floor to the people that do want to participate in the conversation. So far, you don't want to. So I'm going to ask you to step back and let the people that do want to participate to do that. It's not a good look. Silence is not a good look. I'm offering to do science with people. Well, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he just wanted to derail everything. I don't. Right. He had a script he wanted to stick to. That's not this conversation. So.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
But Globers too. Do you have? You can present. Your hypothesis as well.
I would use the Haberstein formula for my hypothesis.
That's a good one. I like that one. That's the one I would lean toward.
Sorry, I dropped there. But hey, can you repeat your question so we're on the same page? I'm having a bad connection. I got dropped. It wouldn't let me rejoin, but it actually automatically rejoined me. It was weird. But can you repeat your question so I make sure I'm not dodging?
Yeah, sure. Let's see here. I measured the physical distance. I measured the ground. As flat earthers told me to do, I measured the ground between 2 points on the surface of the Earth. And I posted those 2 coordinates there.
I'll try and drop them
for people. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I will just not listen to you anymore if you can't even figure out your technology. Brian always has the same problem. It's like he's never even going to try to figure it out. I see FDFE is here. Is he server muted? Oh no, he's.
I think that
I muted him.
I think the Earth is a ball is a hypothesis.
No, my hypothesis is not that. It's more significant than that.
Okay, that's how you put it before.
What was the distance?
That is to be revealed after people have their predictions in.
Is a prediction a hypothesis, or there's the same thing?
A hypothesis has a prediction.
But your hypothesis is that the distance between those coordinates matches a spherical surface based on that theorem, right?
The theorem just
curvature?
No, that's not Gaussian curvature. It's more than that. But the theorem is that you can tell the shape of a surface intrinsically by measuring things on the surface, not without looking at things externally, just by looking at things internally. So look at points at the surface, measure the distance. Look at points on the surface, measure the distance. You can do that to determine the shape of the surface that you're on. That's a valid way to do it.
Yeah, I hear you. And distances would be different on a sphere versus a planar surface. But overall, with these coordinates, you're saying that the distance between them is what matches what you're saying when you're given the data from the GPS from the two positions. You would be claiming that the distance matches a sphere, but you're asking for other people to either give a different interpretation or their understanding of what the shape is based off the data?
I'm asking people to present their hypothesis, because people have different hypotheses for that includes a variation of the shape of the Earth. So flat earthers.
I haven't heard your hypothesis yet. Only the prediction part, not the rest of the hypothesis.
I didn't present my prediction.
Fill in the rest of the blanks.
I didn't present my prediction.
That's my hypothesis. After you said Earth's a ball, that's my hypothesis. Which that's just an assumption or a prediction. But
yeah,
what's the rest of the hypothesis? So we get it all.
Sure.
Whole?
I was opening up the floor for other people to do it before I did it. So I'll wait for others, and if no others do step up, then I'll do it.
We know what the distance is on an AE map.
All right, is it in kilometers or miles?
I got 15.79 kilometers.
I measured in kilometers.
But I
got 15.79.
I also have 15.79.
Okay.
If I have a scale AE map and I measure I put a string along it at whatever parallel that's at. Do we know how long that string would be?
The Gleason map?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so the Gleason map does in fact have a rudimentary scale on the bottom. It just says 60 nautical miles per degree latitude. So you can use that, and that is talking about the latitude.
Yeah. So every latitude, it basically maps out a cylinder, basically.
No. It's a cylinder if you assume that he's meaning both latitude and longitude, and that would be a ridiculous claim for a flat earther to claim that the Earth is a cylinder.
Not 69 miles per degree, or every latitude is 69 miles per degree, because he does specify that it's 69 degree or 60 nautical miles per degree latitude. That means every latitude.
Yep, every latitude.
The ones you want.
Yeah, every latitude.
Not just the ones you want.
Yeah,
so
I said that.
All the way
I said that. Listen up, Brian.
Yeah.
Every latitude. Can you not hear? Are you dumb?
Latitude at 69 miles per degree. Please quit yelling.
My brain.
So you admit. So now you change it to every latitude is.
God, you're stupid.
69 miles per degree.
He never said it wasn't, Brian.
I never did, Brian. You're too stupid to listen. Stop talking and listen.
I'm sorry if I misunderstood.
Stop talking and listen.
Give me
all right, here's
a to talk, for fuck's sake, dude.
No.
For fuck's sake.
No more. All right.
Yeah,
Brian, calm down.
I muted Brian.
Chill.
I muted Brian to my stream so that he doesn't interrupt anymore. So if you all are hearing him, apologies to you. He can't even hear. He can't even hear when I said 60 nautical miles per degree latitude. He didn't hear that. He's too dumb to hear that.
Hold on. Let's just chill for a sec. I mean, charitability and patience are a virtue in trying to understand where people are coming from. I'm just saying in general.
Tell that to Brian.
You don't want to. If you don't want to engage with Brian, that's up to you. But I think he was trying to understand. Maybe there was a little over talking. I don't know, but it's up to you what you want to do. But I think
he can't get his technology to work. He can't hear me when I talk. For some reason, he can't hear, right? So you can't have a two-way conversation when the other person is incapable of hearing because of their technology.
I think he could hear you, Brian. Is your connection good now? It's up to you, though. I mean, if you don't want to talk.
Look, he constantly overtalks me. I said 60 nautical miles per degree latitude, and he's like, "Oh, you got to be 60 degrees not latitude." I'm like, "That's what I said, you idiot." How can he be that dumb? That's what I want to know. You can't have a conversation with a child that doesn't even understand the things that you say.
You're kind of doing ad hominems though at this point, and sort of personal attacks. Which so instead of doing that and then just muting him, could we either talk to him or somehow figure out how to move forward?
I'll give him one more chance, but he's got to pretend. He's got to pretend to be an adult. Okay.
All right, Brian. Just if your connection's good, just if you can try not to interrupt Brian, just one at a time, back and forth, and go ahead.
So,
Sure.
so my question is using the azimuthal equidistant map, which I don't have one up in front of me. If I measure, and I'm imagining that it's on that map, it'll be like a curved distance. Like it wouldn't be a straight line on that map. I'm not exactly sure because I haven't looked it up. But if I measure that distance on the map and then apply it to the scale, of the map, do we know what it comes out to?
What scale? The AE map doesn't have a scale.
No, it does have a scale, Craig.
Sure it does.
It has a scale.
You just cleared the microphone for me, and y'all just all jump in, dude. Do you really want a conversation?
Oh, we're not all here to talk to you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Anyway, I said then that the AE map says that it's 16 nautical miles per degree, which means every latitude is the same distance, which maps out as a cylinder, correct?
No.
You all said no.
No. No.
Please don't yell. Say no.
Brian, you do understand that your mic is so overmodulated, it sounds like you're shouting all of the time, right?
Answer the question, please.
Brian, listen up closely. If you have 60 nautical miles per degree latitude and an unspecified distance longitude, it does not make it a cylinder. But if you're going to say between every longitude, it's also 69 miles or 60 nautical miles, then it's a cylinder. But Gleason does not claim that.
It's not a 2-degree cylinder. So you show me a shape where I can have extruding rings getting larger but equaling the same distance. The whole point is that's how he scales it. It's 69 or 60 nautical miles per degree. So when y'all say it's like 50,000 miles to get around, say, 60 degrees south, that just means you don't understand the map, dude. You know, that's my
Brian,
point.
you dare accuse me of not understanding the math when you are so completely ignorant of the math? It baffles the mind.
And I mean, you understand things you want to see.
Well, there he goes
Brian,
again.
You understand that on the AE map, the distances are only accurate north to south, not east to west, right?
Well, actually, there's two different ways that one can interpret the Gleason map as far as these communities. The flat earther will interpret that as a flat earth map. From a global perspective, that's not a flat earth map. That's a globe map.
So I just posted a blow up of the scale where it says English miles corresponding to nautical miles, 60 miles to the degree. Now, it does not say latitude after that, but if you assume he means both latitude and longitude, it is not a flat map. It is a cylinder. I don't know of any flat earthers that think that the flat earth is a cylinder. As far as I know, all flat earthers think that the earth is flat and that the Gleason map
circle around the edge, the same distance as the circle around the center.
Again, in the middle of my sentence. You must not hear me.
I apologize.
I
apologize. I didn't.
Can you not? You can't hear me?
I didn't hear you.
Fix your damn technology then, Brian. Walk into the house. Ask permission to walk into the house so you have better Wi-Fi.
Dude, chill out, dude. I honestly didn't hear you. I even opened up saying if I'm interrupting somebody, then let me know because I don't hear anybody speaking. I was trying to cover dead.
My gosh.
Brian, just assume you're interrupting. It's the safest bet.
All right, but I think to be fair, and I say this with all love, Brian, sometimes Brian can be a little rambunctious. I think it's rambunctious more than he's not trying to be rude. I don't think he's doing it maliciously. He's a little excited. It's all good. Let's just carry on. So, all right. The 1 degree per 69 is for latitude, not longitude. Brian, do you agree with that or somehow to move forward?
Yeah. And I didn't hear him when I started speaking. I swear to God on my life, I genuinely did not hear him talking until he started bitching at me.
And that's your
Even though you were
technology.
responding to the thing that he was saying. That doesn't make any sense.
Craig, it's because his Wi-Fi sucks.
So
is there like has he got a lag to us or something? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
So,
or is that in his brain? I don't know.
I'm just, my flat Earth prediction would be that it is accepting the azimuthal equidistant map or the Gleason map which are different, but we could use either one. I don't really care. Would be accepting that as a literal scale model flat map of the world. What would those lat long distances be if I measured them with a tape measure?
So you can do that, because if you take 60 nautical miles per degree latitude, that gives you a polar coordinate system. So then latitude becomes a radius, which is one of the two coordinates you need for a polar coordinate system, and then longitude is your degrees. Of course, it's already degrees, so it works out fine. And so that gives you a concrete size of the Earth, and it does make sense, because there certainly is 60 nautical miles per degree latitude. That's easy for anybody to measure. So what is the answer to that on flat Earth? Well, I think people can figure.
You would agree. Let me say, you would agree that if we were trying to make a coordinate system with a celestial sphere overhead, or two hemispheres, however you want to say it, however you want to do it, just please don't dodge this, because I would like to get an answer. So if we had a celestial hemisphere that was optical, and we've seen everything spherical, like we see the clouds bend down like it's a dome, even though I'm in one little spot, we know that has nothing to do with a globe. Maybe the stars, you could say, even the stars, why would they look lower toward the horizon? That's just the way we
Brian,
see.
have you answered the question yet?
No,
Brian, have you answered the question
he's
yet?
going to the sky. I'm measuring the ground.
Please stop.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused, Brian. You seem to be responding to a different thing.
Yeah, we asked you a question first, and now you're demanding another answer.
Please back out.
Why are you demanding another answer?
If you guys want to give him another 20 seconds, I think he was going to perhaps wrap it together, because I was following it. Just let him finish. Let's go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. My question is this: how could you map on a two-dimensional piece of paper a celestial sphere over your head? The answer is you couldn't. You'd have to map it as a sphere, even if it's optical. So even if the ground is flat and we have an optical, and we measure things through angles and optical dips and altitude, then you would have to map it as a sphere, even if the ground was flat. Would you agree with that?
Why the hell are you trying to change a topic? I'm measuring the ground, and you're talking about measuring the sky.
I knew you were not.
Can you just get on topic, Brian? Do you lack the ability to do that? What is wrong with you?
Can you answer a question?
No, I'm not going to answer your question. This is the question I asked, and in answering my question, you change the topic. That's not how questions go. You answer my question or back off. It's not your. If you don't know the answer, I get it. You don't know the answer.
I said no right off the bat. Then I asked your question, and you're doing exactly what I said, what I thought you'd do, which is why I begged you not to when I asked the question. I said no.
I'm not derailing the conversation for your dumb little idea. I have a question open to everybody, and you're the one that's trying to hijack the conversation. Stop it.
I said
Brian, if we were using
no.
Brian, if we were using the Haversine formula or the Vicenti formula, we wouldn't need the sky. It's not required.
Well, can I try to steel man what I think Brian was alluding to? I don't personally think it was completely off topic, but it is maybe like the surrounding topic of this, or what, because if you're on a planar surface and you have, let's say like a planetarium, so you have a hemispherical planetarium, and then you have essentially a radius from your eyeball to the extent of that planetarium, and that's the radius. On a globe Earth, they're going to claim the ground is curving, and obviously the stars are very far away out, in an essentially treated as a sphere, sources of light in terms of the stars. So what Brian's referring to, and then when you're talking about the GPS positions, those GPS positions are related to positions in the sky. And this whole question of, is the spherical radius and the components that we're referring to a function of our vision and the actual hemispherical sky above us, or that of being actually on a sphere? And that's why he was talking about mapping the stars down to the sphere. And that plays into the distance you're measuring on the ground and how the GPS and coordinate systems plays into that.
Oh yeah, fine. That can all be part of the hypothesis for flat Earth, that the things in the sky are somehow different position than they actually appear, and that those differences are caused by something or not, or maybe don't know what the cause is. All of those would be built into the hypothesis for flat Earth that he's free to do.
But Toon, if he's using that hypothesis, it requires things to go underneath the ground.
Well, that's fine. He can generate the hypothesis that causes all of these things to happen, causes the light from the star to travel to us in some different way, and then see if it matches reality in its prediction. And then we can go look at the hypothesis and say, okay, well, in order for your hypothesis to output this, it had all this list of assumptions. Are these assumptions reasonable assumptions? Are there causal mechanisms behind them? And then we can evaluate whether or not that there are, and throw it out if it seems ridiculous.
Well, yeah, but one of his assumptions would have to be that celestial objects go underneath the ground.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
That would be a ridiculous hypothesis for him to have.
He definitely doesn't get it, right? So Toon gets it because I mean, from what he just said.
No, I do get it, Brian.
Please don't interrupt me. Jesus Christ!
You interrupted to tell me not to interrupt. That's
when I just said it's optical. Now you're saying that I think stars or things go underground. After
they would have to with your hypothesis. They would have to.
Geo, please quit interrupting, bro. Calm yourself. So when I say
you seem triggered.
and your model does so in your model everything's right where you say it's going to be, Toon. Every star, even toward the horizon, is right where you say it's going to be. So there is a degree of displacement even in your model, right? So on a flat plane, it would be a bigger degree. But please mute FTFE, man. He's not helping this conversation.
No, I'm not getting muted. You don't decide what's going on here, Brian.
So I haven't yet gone to my hypothesis. So you're already trying to debunk my hypothesis when you don't even know it and haven't presented yours. So present your hypothesis if you have one, and if you don't, then turn off your microphone and let somebody else.
Well, I'm trying to get clarity so I can present a hypothesis.
You don't need to know about my hypothesis to present yours. All you need to know about is yours. Stay in your lane, Brian.
Well, how can I describe?
I have a prediction.
When you won't clarify it.
I don't need to clarify.
Doesn't need his.
I don't need to instruct you on how to to put together your hypothesis. You just go do it all by yourself or have some friends help you. I don't need to help you.
Draw it in crayon if you want.
My hypothesis is that FTFE does not have a clue when he says that things are actually going underground. Okay,
your hypothesis would require that.
I've got a prediction.
Okay, but to be fair, he didn't say that.
All right, yeah, Craig, you don't know his hypothesis yet, so just like he doesn't know mine, let's reserve judgment until he presents his, knowing he never will. But let's reserve judgment at least.
Yeah, no.
Somebody said they have a hypothesis.
For a second, I'll give it to you. I'll never will give it to you right now.
I know.
Okay?
I know.
My hypothesis is that things drop in the distance optically. Okay.
Okay, and
that's
so
my hypothesis, and I would back that up with I would back that up with clouds. I would back that up with airplanes, like jet trails.
None of that matters. I want the distance.
Hypothesis.
Even though they're only supposed to have dropped about 200 feet, according to the globe Earth curve model, we see that line going straight down in the distance. So is that line going straight down and looking like it's going into the ground, as
Brian,
he would say?
Brian,
what has that got to do with your hypothesis?
Craig, hold on. Brian.
Sorry, I'm just so confused.
Here's what happens. You take your hypothesis, and your hypothesis will then output a number, a distance in kilometers or miles. So all of those things that you said, whatever, go apply them and then output the number in miles. And I posted again the start and stop coordinates. And I don't need to hear all of those vague kind of whatever explanations. Go take the very specific numbers that those
that's fair.
Require, and then give me the number. I never moved the goalpost. From the beginning, you
didn't ask for a number.
Yes, you weren't listening, Brian. You were not listening.
Everyone keeps on calling things hypotheses that are not hypotheses.
I have a hypothesis.
All right, let's hear it.
My hypothesis is that the azimuthal equidistant map is a literal map of the literal flat Earth, and therefore the distance between those 2 points would be 17.12 kilometers.
All right.
Why are you calling that a hypothesis?
My hypothesis.
Is anyone going to use that word correctly tonight?
My hypothesis is that the Earth is flat, and that the correct map of the Earth is the azimuthal equidistant map.
All right.
So no one knows what that word actually means.
That's a perfectly valid
Let
hypothesis.
me prove that I do. Let me prove that I do. Okay, my phenomenon is objects dropping in the distance. Okay, my independent variable is distance. Okay, I can move around, and so we can determine whether things dropping in the distance optically, the phenomenon, we can conclude whether it's the ground curving, okay, or whether it's optical. So that my hypothesis is that things appear to drop in the distance due to perspective, due to whatever, I can change that part of the hypothesis to whatever, but my main hypothesis is things appear to drop in the distance optically.
Okay, and what is the distance between those 2 points then?
I have to work that out.
Okay, go forth and work it out. Just go work it out. Stop talking until you get it worked out. Go get your pencil and paper. Go get your pencil and paper. Work it out. Yeah.
Per mile cube.
We don't. What?
What?
Something per mile cubed?
I thought you said
See,
something
that's
about
why I
shoe.
need to work it out. This is why I need to work it out. Is because, God dang it.
You don't need to talk while working it out. You can do it silently.
Don't say what and then interrupt me right when I start to answer your question. Right behind FTFE's interruption, and then accuse me of interrupting, dude. This is what
I was
y'all do,
talking to
dude.
Toon. Brian, calm down.
Bad thing.
You sound triggered. I'd go and take a chill pill or something, dude.
Okay. Well, he's gonna go work it out, and then he'll come back and have a number, a linear, miles or kilometers.
The number now, okay?
Okay.
Y'all give me a little space.
I'm ready. I'm ready for your.
Okay, so now when you say 8 inches per mile squared, when y'all relate that, and don't say you're not answering, because I definitely am. Okay, so when you say that perspective works over a squared function, over something getting smaller in the distance, what you're not.
Cow. What is going on?
So see, I knew they couldn't do it. They just couldn't.
You're not providing a number. Provide a number.
Can't square it. Hold on.
Works over a squared function. What does that even mean?
You guys, please quit puking over me. Please, just relax. Okay, now you can't.
Says the guy freaking out.
Oh God, somebody. Okay, so you can't just use the perspective saying things shrink in the distance, because the space also shrinks. So you can't just use it as a squared function, because not only does the object in the distance shrink on a squared function, the distance it's sitting in also shrinks.
Gio, can you ask Brian if he knows about the 2 points that we're measuring?
Why he can't hear you?
I don't know. I guess
He doesn't seem to be able to comprehend. Brian, I don't need.
Can I ask a quick question?
No,
Does
Craig,
anybody
stop.
hear any numbers from Brian? Then I thought that's what we were asking, right?
Brian,
Craig,
you're gonna take
perspective.
I haven't heard any.
Yeah, Brian, you're gonna take the 2 coordinates that I gave, and you're gonna input.
Alpha 2 times arc tan of J over 2r.
Right. So that's a squared function, right?
No.
Okay. So tell me what it is then.
Alpha equals 2 times the arc tan of G over 2r.
Okay. Okay, so it's not a squared function.
No, it's not.
Tell me what it is. So things don't proportionately shrink in size over distance. So if something's 8 feet and I'm moving to 16 feet, it doesn't. Okay, go ahead.
It's an asymptote, not a squared function.
Okay, all right. You want to get okay. So, but in other words, if I move something twice as far away, what does the size do optically?
I don't know how this has anything to do with the question. I'm talking about measuring the ground.
Answer one simple question, people.
I'm not answering your questions. You're answering my questions. What is the distance between? No, I won't. I don't need to do your homework for you. You go do your own homework. You take the 2 coordinates, you input them into whatever you think, and then you output the number. This is easy. Adults do this.
Pretend you're teaching me in good faith, McToon.
I'm not teaching you. This is your chance to teach me the distance between those 2 points.
You don't want me to learn?
I don't want you to learn. No, I want you to explain how the flat earth works.
On the board, guys. Because he won't give me space to talk. Craig, if something doubles in distance, what happens to the size? Please, Craig.
Alpha equals 2 times the arctan of G over 2R will give you the answer.
Yeah, so give me the answer. Teach me, please. What happens to the size if I double the distance? See how these? You see this, guys?
It has nothing to do with measuring the ground, Brian. We're measuring the ground. Why can't you focus on measuring the ground?
Why can't you answer a simple
question? Because we're talking about measuring the ground and you're trying to sidetrack the conversation. Stop trying to sidetrack.
Y'all take over.
Yeah, thank you. Bye. Bye, Felicia.
Wasn't he trying to go into perspective, and because he was saying it was optical, and then he was trying to calculate it through a perspective calculation of optics?
That would be fine, but he doesn't need to speak out loud to do that. He can go, get out a piece of paper or whatever he wants and then work it out himself. He doesn't need to ask us how it works. That's
hypothesis.
All right, let's hear it.
I gave an answer.
Okay, so my hypothesis is that it's not a Haversine formula. It's a portion of a circular line of latitude at approximately that 50.6, whatever it is. And when I do that and work it out, I get 15.78 kilometers.
How did you?
So it's not a great circle. It's a portion of a latitude line.
How did you?
But they're pretty much indistinguishable.
Okay, and how did you compute that?
Good answer.
Oh, I just took the longitude multiplied by 111.1 kilometers per degree, and then I multiplied by the cosine of 50.6, whatever that basic latitude is.
Okay.
Right.
Why did you multiply by the cosine of 50.6?
Well, because that accounts for the fact that the radius of that latitude circle is the cosine of 50 degrees times the actual radius of the Earth.
Of the globe?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just was curious because that cosine function, that cosine function, Brian, stop. That cosine function is a relationship, the sine cosine relationship in the distances between the longitudes is relative to a sphere. Back to Gauss's theorem.
Or a circle.
There's a sphere underlying it. Jesus Christ. Okay. Anyway, I give up.
Yep. And what did you get?
I got 15.78, which surprised me a little. I thought I would get something at least no smaller. No smaller than the Haversine. Wait a minute. Yeah, right. There should be a little larger, if anything, than the Haversine formula. So I was a little surprised by that.
Yeah, and that error will increase as you go farther and farther if you're staying on the same latitude.
Yeah, it's not far enough that it's very different from a great circle.
Yeah, so you're off. You're off by 1/100th. That's all. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, you're basically not off. So, and y'all would agree that does apply to a circle. But hold on.
No, that's a sphere.
Brian,
that's a sphere.
For fuck's sake, dude! Can y'all even help yourselves, dude? Can you help yourselves? Okay.
Brian,
projection.
Irony.
Of the time. Relax.
Did y'all not agree earlier that Gleason referred to every line of latitude as 60 nautical miles per degree?
My God, we covered this already.
Everything he just said applies to a circle as well as a sphere, not just a circle. I mean, not just a sphere.
No, no, Brian. No.
And would you refer back to what you said earlier?
No.
Gleason refers to the scale of his map being 60 nautical miles per degree of latitude.
So, Brian, concentric circles are going to have a linear reduction in radius on a flat surface, and concentric lines of latitude are going to have a sine cosine relationship reduction in their circumference. This is geometry. This is just geometry.
Are you saying that it wouldn't apply to a circle?
It would not apply to concentric circles on a flat surface. It applies to concentric.
Show me exactly what his equation would not apply to a circle.
He didn't say a circle. He said concentric.
Concentric circles, Brian.
That wasn't my question, though, was it?
Your question is malformed.
Be honest for 1 second, man.
Your question is malformed because you don't understand the geometry, Brian. Well, you're just hogging the mic here. Maybe there's other flat earthers that want to answer. They have an actual
bad mic. Repeat the problem, please.
I measured the surface. I posted the coordinates of the start and the stop position on the surface of the Earth. So I'm asking people, based on your hypothesis of the shape of the Earth, your assumption of the shape of the Earth, build a hypothesis that outputs the distance between those 2 points. So if you don't have at the end of all of your words a distance, then you're not on the right track.
Sure, I just heard that. Okay, and I'm gonna have to go back and look and see where the distance was because I told you I couldn't hear nothing earlier. Okay, now so you're doing this math on a 2-dimensional surface of a sphere. So you're doing this math in 2 dimensions. Is that
the surface of a sphere? The surface of a sphere. Right here, there he is.
Doing the math.
Brian, you're roboting again, Brian. What?
Ask my question.
No, I can't
hear what you're saying.
Stop talking, Brian. Stop talking. Get to where your Wi-Fi is good. Ask permission to go into the house. I can't. You can't. We can't hear you.
You guys are like Larry, Curly, and Mo right now.
All right. He's incapable of having good Wi-Fi.
Doing the math on a 2-dimensional surface of a sphere. Is the math 2-dimensional? Because you started off pinning us down and saying the sphere is 2-dimensional. Right.
Oh my God, you're dumb.
So you're not doing the math on a 2-dimensional surface.
How can you be that dumb?
He measured the distance.
That's his answer. Is dumb.
You are, Brian. You really are. You should acknowledge it.
Why won't you just answer the question, bro?
Because you can't even ask a question because your Wi-Fi keeps dropping.
Okay, my question is the math 2-dimensional? Because you started off saying that the surface of a sphere is 2 dimensions.
That's correct.
The longitude, latitude, and all that.
That's correct.
So is the math 2-dimensional, McToon?
Yes. When I'm measuring the points on the surface of a sphere, I'm using 2 dimensions.
So why wouldn't that apply to a circle then, dipshit?
Brian, calm down.
Stop projecting, man. This is embarrassing for you. The geometry here isn't that complicated, and you don't understand it. So I'll explain it again.
Of course I don't.
Stop talking so you can hear. You're not going to understand if you're talking over me. Concentric circles have a linear reduction in circumference on a flat surface. Concentric lines of latitude have a sine-cosine reduction in circumference on a sphere. This is the geometry.
Which is why Gleason explained. So don't use the AE map when Gleason explained that it's not using that. It's using a scale of 69 or 60 nautical miles per degree of latitude. So you keep saying that. That's dishonest, okay? And then you say that it's 2-dimensional math and it doesn't apply to a circle. So tell me where the disconnect is.
So we can then take his map and take his scale that he claimed and determine, according to him, the circumference of any line of longitude. We don't use cosine to do that. It's just.
Don't use cosine.
No,
50.7 would that be the same answer?
No, it's pi d. It's pi d.
So it's not 2-dimensional math then, right?
It is, Brian.
So
it's pi d.
2-dimensional math then, soon, right?
Brian, what's the circumference of a sphere?
It's
of a circle. Of a circle. No. What's the circumference? What's the circumference of a circle, Brian?
That's the ratio, dude. That's the ratio, dude.
What's the circumference of a circle, Brian? You don't even know this. You
circumference is a ratio of 3.14159.
To what?
2 pi r.
Why are you asking that?
2 times
that, though?
2 pi r or pi d. You don't even know that. My goodness.
Or oh my God. Okay, I don't know that, right? So I couldn't figure out a circumference if you gave me the diameter. Yeah, you're right. I don't even know how to do that. What you're doing is dishonest.
Brian,
what you're doing is dishonest.
Brian, if you'll stop talking, I'll explain it again. Okay, mute yourself. Okay, I'll explain it again. Stop talking. Stop talking. I'll explain it again. You're asking me questions as if you're pretending that you want me to answer. You don't understand the geometry, and I'm here to teach you the geometry. You pretended to want to learn. I'll teach you.
Bad faith.
Stop talking. Bad faith is you over talking me when you pretended to want me to answer it.
You acting like I can't figure out a circumference.
Brian, shut the up.
All right, that's it.
Geo,
I am done with Brian. Geo, I'm done.
Of course he is, Geo, because he won't.
He's muted on my side. So if you're gonna let him keep talking on your side, you can. I mean, you can just tell me to leave but I'm not going to talk to Brian anymore. I will explain it so that people do understand. Okay. The circumference of a circle on a flat surface is pi d. And so Gleason gives the way to figure out the diameter or the radius, 16 nautical miles per degree. So you take that, multiply by the degree. So if you're at 50.6 degrees north latitude, you need to start at 90 and subtract that. So you take the complement of 50, that's going to be 40. So 40 times 60 nautical miles is your radius of that of the latitude there on a flat surface, right? So you take that and then you multiply that by, that's your r. So you take 2 pi r to give you the total circumference of that, and then you take the longitude, the start longitude and the stop longitude, and that's degrees, and then you have your degrees. That's a portion of the circle, so you can just get the portion of the circle. And using that math right there, the distance can be known. I know what the answer is. On a sphere, concentric circles on the surface of a sphere don't follow the same relationship. You take the equator on the globe, as we know, and you get that's your beginning, where you start there, right? And then as you decrease your latitude, when you get to 45 degrees latitude, you're halfway between the equator and the pole, but your circumference is not half. You need to go all the way to 60 degrees to get half the radius. And that's because it's a sine-cosine relationship. And that's why John said, I'm going to multiply by the cosine of the latitude. And that's how it works on the surface of a sphere versus concentric circles on a flat surface. So that's the little bit of math thing. That's completely in agreement with Gleason's map. And so Gleason's map gives us a very specific prediction for that. Now, I don't know if flat earthers like the Gleason map. Maybe they have a different map they like and want to present how to measure the ground using their idea of the shape of the earth. So
you mean like a Wake Souls Pac-Man map or something?
That'd be a good one. He's not here, so I don't think he can.
I know. Hey, do you think Brian understands that the surface of any shape is 2D?
No, I don't think he gets that.
Brian, he can't hear you, I think. Can you hear Brian? Do you want to let Brian respond?
No, I'm not going to let Brian respond. Gio, I told you I'm done talking to Brian. And if my invitation to be here is rescinded, if I'm not going to talk to him, I understand. But I'm not going to talk to him anymore. He is completely hogged the mic and not allowed anybody else to talk other than himself.
I guess I'm confused because you gave 2 coordinates and you're asking for them to come up with a distance, but then he's asking you how to calculate the distance.
Yeah, go figure out.
They're printed in chat. They're printed in chat, and your task is to determine the distance between them by your algorithms of flat Earth.
Yeah, you don't need to ask us about the globe to go and compute the distance according to flat Earth. You don't need to tell us all about how you think the perspective is going to do things. You just go do it. You say, well, perspective does this, and compression does this, and something else does that, and here's how it affects the distance, and you output the number.
He seemed to be asking how to calculate it as opposed to presenting his calculation.
Yeah. And if he doesn't know how, I understand that he doesn't know how, and maybe that's not his thing. Obviously, geometry is not Brian's thing.
No, the hypothesis is on you.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Omnivore, did you give one? Somebody did. Was it?
Yeah, we're asking for your hypothesis.
But Shoebill, I can't hear Brian talking, so if you're going to respond to him and you're going to pipe that out through my YouTube, that's not good for me.
So I just wanted to point out to Fundy, because Fundy wasn't clear on how to use the term hypothesis.
Yeah.
That my hypothesis.
No, that was my complaint towards everyone in the room so far.
My hypothesis is that the true map.
You want to set the record straight there?
Azimuthal equidistant map. That's my hypothesis. The entailment of that hypothesis.
That's not a hypothesis.
Would be my prediction. My prediction is that would have measured to 17.12 miles. Now you understand how hypothesis works.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you want to construct it as an if-then, you can.
Correct.
You can construct it as an if-then, which is a pretty common way to do it, like an introductory. Like if you're going to teach a middle schooler how to do it, you'd say make an if-then statement. That's a good way to know how to do it. So if the Earth is flat, and if the Gleason map is describing the shape of the Earth, then we can treat the coordinate system as a polar coordinate system using the things that I mentioned already, and then we can apply the polar distance formula, or we can transpose to a Cartesian coordinate system and use the Pythagorean theorem, or we can just use, if it's along a consistent line of latitude, we can just use the portion of that line of latitude around the circumference. Those are different ways that you could do that. All three of those will give you the same answer. And of course, the one we did mention, as John did, or not John, somebody, anyway, if you use the portion of the line of longitude, as it increases, you will increase your error.
So is any flat earther given their hypothesis?
I've not gotten any. We've had, well, we did have, who was it? Omnivore gave a flat Earth hypothesis. That's a valid. Yeah, you use Gleason's map. That's it. That is the
hypothesis.
That is the most you often used map that flat earthers use. You go anywhere, and that's where you still see it on Eric Dubay. You still see it on the front of Dearth's app. You see it on Facebook, people posting it all the time. You see it on Nathan Oakley's book. He has the Gleason map in it. It's everywhere. And there's a few outliers that have different maps, but they don't have much geometry to them.
So you just call Nathan Oakley's thing a book? Like, seriously, come on.
Yeah. So
I want to calculate it using the dual pole model, but it matters where I put the prime meridian. So not sure what to do about that.
Yeah, I call it the bipolar model. So here's the bipolar map right here.
I just knew Fundy was struggling with the hypothesis concept a bit, so I wanted to make sure that was clear.
Yeah.
I also
I think you're talking about the big model, right?
I verified your answer, Omni. I get the same thing for the
that one.
Okay, there's another the sideways buttocks bipolar map. That's a new one. There's no guide on this at all. We don't know. I mean, I suppose you could use 60 nautical miles per degree along the north-south line there, but it looks like as you get away from there, they diverge.
Yeah,
so
it's tough.
That's hard.
Those lines of latitude aren't even circles, so it gets pretty difficult.
Yeah. Now, my favorite map, though, I have to say my very favorite flat Earth map is the one from Darren Nesbitt, which is the one I'm posting right now. He actually did present this in a presentation. He thinks this is it. Of course, you got a Pac-Manning sun, which I think is very funny.
And does the map include those things it's sitting on?
Yes, it sits on pillars. He says it sits on pillars because the Bible said it sits on pillars.
Right.
How does presentation go?
Pillars all the way down.
It was
a great present, dude.
Funny.
I love the Terry Pratchett reference there.
There are others. Let's see. We mentioned Awake Souls and Limitless. This is their Pac-Man map coming up right here. There you go.
That one's brilliant.
So, if you look at,
remember when they ran away from a debate with us? That was fun.
I do.
That one's basically like a 3-pole. Or not, I'm not saying their theories are, but that's like a tripole type of layout. At least the one I'm not saying that's what they claim. I'm not trying to say what they claim, but basically that has like 3 points basically, or 3 poles basically.
Yeah.
3.
Well, they think that the left side and right side Pac-Man. And so there's just one pole, but they think the top and bottom also Pac-Man. So actually asked them, if you go in Anchorage, Alaska there, right, which is pretty close to the top, and if you were then to fly north, you would wind up on the bottom of this map and it would be a shorter trip to get to Punta Arenas, or sorry, not Punta Arenas, to Union Glacier. You could just take a short trip from Anchorage to Union Glacier.
well, that, I mean, like basically that kind of tripole type projection. Also, the one that Darren Nesbitt that like looks like a diamond, and then also what people were calling the dual pole, which actually is an azimuthal equal area. Although there's other ones like that that are actually called azimuthal equidistant, actually, that have the two poles and have Antarctica as a continent. That same phrase, azimuthal equidistant, is actually used for one that looks very similar to that, a slightly different projection than you posted. But yeah, these are all just variations, like the Nesbitt and then the Awake Souls guys. Those are just, they didn't even come up with those projections. Like those are already known projections.
I have another one that's as reasonable, about as accurate as the others. Just right there, that one. It's as useful as
Narnia.
It's as useful. It's as useful for making predictions as all the others.
That looks like some dude flexing riding a cat.
It kind of does.
Oh my god!
Now you can unsee that now, right?
Actually looks like he's doing he's like what's it called with the
dabbing.
Yes,
dabbing.
Oh
yeah, he is. He's dabbing. Yeah.
It actually is. So here, this website is really good. They have a bunch of different projections and information on them. I guess it didn't show the. Okay, so that link I posted, basically, this is what they call an azimuthal equidistant.
So an AE.
This one, hold on, this one right here I'm posting, which is actually the one you posted above, except it has the water is blue. That one actually on this website is actually called an azimuthal equidistant, and then there's also the azimuthal equal area, which. But anyways, yeah, I mean these projections have been around for a long time, so these aren't really new. These are all different ways of basically putting the layout of the land with the coordinates,
and every one of them can be tested to see if it's accurate. You just need to have a bit of a scale so that you can go and see whether or not that the distances match. Now, it is possible, to be fair, it is possible that there are portions of an incorrect map that will match reality in that spot, and so you'd need to do multiple tests in different locations. As I've done, I've tested in Pensacola, Florida, and in Punta Arenas and in Antarctica. I have all of those, and I've tested them all in those locations. So I'm building up a collection. I've got 4. Now, I tried in Lake Tahoe. I messed up because I didn't get the coordinates on both ends of it. And I messed up in same thing. I messed up in Santiago by not capturing the coordinates correctly.
So what was your hypothesis, Toon?
My hypothesis, of course, is that the Earth is a globe. And so I'll do it as an if then. If the Earth is a globe and if the radius is 6,371 kilometers, then you can compute the distance between any points on the surface of the Earth using the Haversine formula and plugging in 6,371 kilometers. To be more precise, you can use either Vicente formula, or you can slightly modify the Haversine formula and use the both the equatorial and polar radii of the Earth to get an effective radius at your particular latitude. But that's going to make adjustments down in your fourth digits. So not not very significant.
Carney's geodesic algorithm, which is an even more robust version of Vicente, right?
I don't know about that one. But the thing is, Haversine is going to be more accurate than we're going to get in almost any measurement we're going to do. More precision. We're not doing that level.
Follow.
Well, I don't want to do the reveal yet because we've so far only got one flat Earth prediction. So I have a video basically started, and then I'm going to do some commentary after this, and I'm going to report in my video the flat Earth predictions that were offered. I'm hoping to get some better flat Earth predictions than from a glober.
You don't really expect another one, right?
Well, maybe a flat earther would chime in and say, yes, Gleason map is my map, and I think that's accurate. Or maybe somebody that's
the only one you can calculate. Really, I'm not sure. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, but
I'm sure Brian will be back in 15 minutes with a number.
I mean, it would be embarrassing, I think, for people to think the Earth is flat and not be able to answer simple questions like this about the Earth. I mean, this is
you've met flat earthers.
Pretty. I'm being sarcastic, Craig. Let me be sarcastic. I mean, if you can't answer any questions about flat Earth and all you ever do is deflect to talk about the globe, that's a lose. That's a win for the globe, and that's a lose for flat Earth if the only thing you ever do is deflect. Right? If you're asked a question about flat Earth, answer the question about flat Earth using flat Earth. That's the correct way to do it. I can do that for the globe. Somebody asks me, can you do celestial navigation? Yes, I can, and I'll use the globe. If somebody says, how come gravity varies slightly at different latitude and elevation? And my answer is, well, it's because it's a rotating globe, and here is how we can use the fact of the Earth, or the hypothesis of the Earth being a rotating sphere to predict variations in the downward acceleration at different latitudes and elevations.
Have you watched the episode of Neil deGrasse Tyson's podcast? What's it called? Star Talk, right? Where he changed his mind on that after saying just what you said and said, turns out I was wrong the whole time. Things don't change. They're way to different places because it all evens out. And then he goes into his explanation as why he apologizes for ever saying that before.
I did.
That is one of the most embarrassing videos. I've written to him a couple times about that. As far as I know, it's still up. He says that your weight is the same everywhere on the Earth because it's an oblate spheroid that's rotating.
Yeah, it is possible for people to be incorrect.
So is he right, or is the thing that we've all been hearing and repeating this whole time? Right?
I would say Neil is wrong.
He misspoke.
Yeah,
he misspoke flat out.
Unlike flat earthers, we don't.
He didn't mean what he said.
No, he got it wrong. Unlike flat earthers, we don't consider any.
Is it that he had it right his entire life, and then when he recently changed his mind 2 years ago, he changed his mind to a wrong opinion?
Yes,
after being right for so long.
That's right.
That's pretty funny, huh? That's a pretty funny situation, isn't it?
No, he is not. He is not our spokesperson. I don't care about what he says.
We don't think Neil deGrasse Tyson's a god.
Yeah, I'm not claiming he is your spokesperson. It's just that if he was right all along and then 2 years ago made a public statement about how he's claiming he was wrong his entire life and now he has it straight, that's hilarious that he changed his mind to a wrong opinion so late in life.
Yep.
I wonder what
people do
that. Make that mistake so late in life after being a scientist for so long. It's just, that's just funny.
Watch the video.
Humor
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
and watch the video. People convert to the flat Earth, and they're wrong too.
Yeah, so
he gets a lot of things wrong, right? Yeah. He says the Bob Carter thing, right, led him to say you can't see it from up there. He knows that's not true.
Yeah,
Felix. Yeah, I'm just trying to find the comedy or the humor in it. You know?
Well, try to find truth instead. Felix Baumgartner said himself with his own mouth.
Task. Don't worry.
With his own mouth, he said he saw the curve of the Earth, and then Neil, who wasn't there, said that you couldn't see it. So I will take the word of the person that was there over Neil, who didn't present any backing evidence for it.
I mean, isn't that hilarious?
It is hilarious that you think that he has any sort of special position to speak on the topic of Earth science.
Why do you think that that's what I think is hilarious about it?
Because you're treating him as if he's some sort of a god. I think he's just a guy, and he gets things right and wrong.
You're making assumptions about my motivations and my comedic taste. It's like I find it funny for a completely different reason.
Yeah.
Try not to bail at
What's the
reading
reason
my mind
you find it funny?
again and again.
Why don't you tell us the reason that you find it funny?
I find it funny for someone to be right and then think that they realized why they've been wrong and changed their opinion to what they think is more right, but it's actually wrong. I mean, that's hilarious to be right all along and then think that you've leveled up, but you actually degraded instead of upgraded. Like, that's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, well, so a globe earther got something wrong, but flat earthers get stuff wrong. Like, they've never got anything right. So
90% of the flat earthers I hear say they were always in line with the globe and then went flat Earth. Well, there you go.
Wouldn't that be, from your perspective, a similar type of humor?
So Fundy,
I think you're getting it now.
Fundy, let's go back to the topic. Do you have a distance that the shape of the Earth that you think the Earth is would say that distance is that I provided, or a way to compute that,
or a hypothesis?
I haven't looked at. You probably posted stuff tonight. I haven't looked at any of it yet, so I don't have a comment on any specifics there.
So now, I understand that, and I'll give you that. But now, do you have a method that you might go for to compute that using the shape of the Earth that you think it is?
I don't think there's been a lot of distractions tonight. I don't even have a clue as to what you're trying to present tonight because it hasn't really happened yet, right? Like, we haven't even gotten into it.
It's happened. Yeah.
Oh, it has?
Yeah, well, John gave one.
You'll have to understand that there's been lots of distractions and side tangent stuff that I've lost the plot listening to everyone in the room because it's been quite an ordeal.
Okay, well, I'll hold on. I'll elucidate again for you. Flat Earthers, after the final experiment, said you can't incorrectly, but they said you can't determine the shape of the Earth by looking at things in the sky. You got to look at the ground. So that's
a wrong statement.
I agree. And I presented.
People did not start saying you can't judge the shape of the ground by looking at the sky. People did not start saying that after the final experiment. That's been almost from like year one. So I don't appreciate you saying that was a response to the final experiment when that was the sentiment expressed thousands of times, maybe millions of times.
All right. Well, rather than interrupt me, maybe
a decade before the final experiment.
just let me continue. And I gave a little bigger explanation at the beginning. Stop over talking me. Stop over talking while I'm giving you a description here. While maybe you weren't here, I did give a more in-depth description of it and said that there is a new subset of flat earthers that have said that didn't used to say that I noticed that say that why are you're talking over me again? Just stop talking over me here. So
sure.
So then
I don't care if you lies.
Got it. All right.
No, just don't interrupt. Yeah, Funny, don't interrupt him.
Yeah, Gio, if he can't act like an adult, I'm gonna not talk to him anymore. Just like Brian. Gio.
Okay. Well, let's just go one at a time. Yeah, I think he was maybe just interjecting, but let's just let him.
Yeah, he's being
I'm not really.
He's being a complete asshole, is what he's being. He's just a complete douchebag asshole that he won't. He's intentionally over talking me. So I will ignore you now. Thank you, Funny.
It is intentional.
Right. I have muted. So Gio, so you know, I muted him, and if I have, if that rescinds my invitation to talk to him on your server, I understand.
So I have another hypothesis.
Okay.
Concave Earth.
Okay.
6,371 kilometers. Distance 15.78 kilometers.
15.78. Okay. And was it omnivore? Omnivore, did you have Gleason? Was that you that proposed or hypothesized Gleason?
Azimuthal equidistant, but yeah.
Yeah. And you had, what was your prediction?
17.12. I put a graphic in there.
Okay.
I didn't see it.
Okay. Nah, there's a lot of chatter and I missed it. So,
that's fine.
All right. That's great. I've got 3 different predictions so far. A globe, a Gleason map, and a concave. A concave. Amazing.
Just make sure everything's okay. I want to text him now.
Hey, Wes, you're hot micing.
I got him.
Yeah, I was confused. I thought he was trying to join in the conversation. I was like, what?
He's talking to us. Hey, we should text in the morning. Hey, back off, man. Anyway.
That's pillow talk.
All right.
It's pillow talk.
All right. Well, I probably have enough. The fact that no flat earther has presented anything, I understand because it's a little bit short notice. I tried to post something earlier, but here's what I'll do. Before I do the video, it probably won't be until next week. I'm busy this weekend. So if any flat earthers have a prediction, so that flat earthers don't come up with absolute zero, because the one flat earth prediction wasn't done by a flat earther, you send me a DM and I'll be happy to include your prediction using your geometry. And I think
can I go ahead?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm gonna wrap it up and let the people talk freely, and I'll unmute Fundy and
Well, can I give my response to it?
Oh yeah, I'd love it.
Well, I think partly what Brian was maybe going towards, he did say optical effect at one point, but then he was then trying to bring in perspective, and then it's sort of there wasn't a full back and forth. So but the thing is, even I don't know whether I necessarily agree with what Brian was going at, but I know that he did mention that. So the whole question with this, in my view, comes down to what the sky is, what the ground is. And the sky, the way that a planetarium replicates the way we see the sky as a hemispherical dome around you, and that does accurately replicate what the sky looks like. So I would just say the ultimate question with this is whether we're on a planar Earth with a spherically functioning sky. Now, I don't mean the sky goes down around the ground, but that the way that it drops over distance functions let's say like a hemisphere for the moment, just to make it simple, like a planetarium, like an azimuthal grid with a hemisphere around you, rather than the idea of a sphere being on a sphere with the stars being very, very far away, to where that changes the geometry, that they're not close and local. So essentially, one of the hypotheses could be that the way that the stars drop optically relates to spherical geometry, because the sky itself has that spherical nature to it, the ground being planar. But that can be transferred to the idea of the ground also being spherical. Since it is spherical in the sky, you can transfer that. But it's the question of whether that's actually the truth, or whether the truth is that the Earth is stationary and that the sky has that drop effect, which would, in a way, be different than just looking at the top of a building and walking away, because the sky would have to be actually functioning in a way that isn't coplanar to the ground. It has the function of a hemisphere in terms of how we see.
Well, I have some ideas about how that might be done in order to get an accurate prediction. And then if that would be what somebody brings forward, then, like I said, we would independently judge whether or not the causal mechanisms proposed make sense, or if they're just baseless assumptions. And then people would probably say, hey, what about Occam's razor? Anyway, Icy Spin wanted to talk about something. Maybe real quick we can let him.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
But lastly, a prediction that would be done with a planar Earth and a hemispherically functioning sky field, which is how the sky was always viewed.
Yeah.
Since before the globe model.
So if anybody has that and can put forth a prediction using that, feel free to send me a DM and I'll include it in the video I do.
No, they can't.
All right, Icy Spin, what do you got here?
Appreciate it. So I've shown this picture, and I crossed my mind when I saw Good Vibes popping the VC. He's here now, so he was the other part of this equation. But this is a photo that I took back on the 22nd of July, which was 8 days ago. And I challenged the room at the time to take a photo of the moon anywhere on the planet that they were, anywhere in the world, and post it. And I said that if you could show me a moon that doesn't have the same face and the same phase, that I would stop being a glober, right? And so that was at 9:54 p.m. local time. I'm in the Eastern time zone. 24 minutes later, Good Vibes, who I mentioned already, who lives in Auckland, New Zealand, snapped a photo. At the top of the photo, you can see both of our original messages. And what I did is I blew mine up, made it where you could see the features on the moon, which you see on the bottom part of the image there on the left. And then, of course, I span his around because the globe model, says that according to your latitude, right, there's always going to be a different orientation. So yeah, I spun his around, and what do you know? Lo and behold, it's the same face and the same phase And also, I mean, one thing to note, if you zoom in to his side, it's a little bit, the resolution is a little bit grainy, but you can see some key features. Like in the top right corner, there's a little dot that kind of looks like a shield on mine in particular. You can see it kind of faintly in his. You can see that little cat paw, whatever you might, call that thing that looks like a hand coming down sort of in the middle. And then, yeah, of course, you can see the same shadow scheme. Speaking about, things that are in the sky that can show us that we definitely have a model that predicts this, but what does the flat Earth have to show of how this is possible? Because I actually modeled this out too, and in an app that I've been building, and I just posted that image at the bottom, but you can see that the shadows are virtually identical. You'd have to look at his original image to look and see like how the moon is capped, but you can see how mine is based on the time of day. I ran it back to the exact time. So we modeled it using the globe model, and I drew it out on a flat Earth, and you'd be looking at different faces of the moon by about a quarter turn, which would introduce major problems, including the fact that both Good Vibes and I are looking at the same shadow that is going across the moon in terms of the way that it affects the moon. To what percentage of the moon is full? In other words, we see the same amount. We also see the same features, so we can be confident that we're looking at the same face of the moon. And that just wouldn't happen in any flat Earth model. Well, it might be possible if the moon was about several orders of magnitude higher than what most flat earthers seem to say. We've heard 50 miles, we've heard hundreds of miles. I don't know that we've heard 1,000 miles up, but we might be looking at the same moon.
I've heard
getting
3,000.
1,000 miles.
I've heard 3,000 miles. Yeah, that's in the earlier, prior to the YouTube era. That's generally in the books that were published is between 2,000 and 4,000 miles high.
CC says 30 miles.
Oh, bless him. He's so cute.
Well, of course, it's a quarter of a million miles according to our model, right? So we know that at that distance, we'd virtually be looking at the same face of the moon. Of course, where he's at in Auckland and where I'm at in Florida, sure, there might be a quarter of a tenth of a half of a percent that's a little bit different, but you can't notice that in reality, right? So yeah, post the question to the room. I haven't had a lot of answers. What's that, Bull Knight?
He and I did the same thing like 2 nights later, and it was much later in the Eastern time zone. It was close, probably after midnight. Moon was about to set for me. We both shared the photos in chat there.
Yeah,
same thing, same result, like same face.
Same result.
I just posted one here. The moon at some point in its throughout its motion is on is above, what did it say, Panama, and when you're in North America like Canada, and when you're in Argentina, you're on opposite sides of it. And so if it's local, then you would see an entirely different portion of the moon. You wouldn't see the same portion of the moon because they're on opposite sides of it. And so whatever elevation it is would vary that, but you would definitely see a different portion of it. But we don't. People see the same portion of it no matter where they are.
Yeah, and then I also I thought it was funny that we're looking at the daytime moon and the nighttime moon, and I don't know, it was just funny. I've never thought about the fact that we could be looking at both. I know that Geo has told me that you would expect to see the similar conditions. Like in other words, you'd be looking at a daytime moon in one place and then a nighttime moon in the other. But I think there's a clear distinction if we're looking at a flat Earth map as to what a daytime moon and a nighttime moon would look like. And I mean, I guess I just don't know. I can't really envision, like, do we see a separation of the light from the night? Like if he's in Auckland, would he see where the night was and there's just a lot of questions in the way that we would expect, I guess. I'm actually presenting the Flat Earth Model 2 in the room. I'm showing it on my live stream, and it just looks sort of as funny as you would imagine. Like if he's looking from here to the moon, would he notice the separation in the day or night? You know, or like why is this number one? Why does it look like that? And if I turn on the FE spotlight, right, we would expect a perfectly circular sun to sort of do that and not have. I mean, maybe it could have overlap, but overlap in a uniform manner. Anyways, is what I think we would expect. But so there's just a lot of problems that are introduced with the model when we're talking about other stuff, I guess.
Is that a conceptual flat Earth model or a non-conceptual flat Earth model?
Well, I don't know. We don't really have a model, Bull Knight. You know that when we ask for it, they say, well, and I say, well, how are we straw manning a non-model? Like, tell me what I'm getting wrong, and we get crickets, of course. So
is this kind of like the wind up before the end of the financial year, and you're just trying to get all your ducks in a row for your boss?
Oh, what's up, Good Vibes? No, I'm just asking a question. Thank you for the picture, by the way. That was helpful.
It's kind of like at nighttime, you're looking at the lake, right? And then there's a street light shining in the water. From your position, you can see the street light at one particular spot in the water. Just you call that spot X. And someone else a few meters away, or even 20, 30 meters away, would looking at the same spot X, won't see the light. So is the light there or is it not?
What the hell is that?
You're talking about reflections.
Yeah. So there is actually a ground position for that light reflection in the water. There is a spot. It's called X. I can see it. So is that light there or not? Because from someone else's perspective, it's not there. It's somewhere else.
Reflection is dependent on the observer because it's the path that the light has taken to get into your eyes. The light isn't
actually
on
got
the
a
water.
ground position though. It's got a ground position, and that's true. You can't deny that.
Well, then why do people see it in different positions?
I think this guy lacks a brain.
Why does the moon appear to be in the daytime and actually it's at the nighttime?
Because the Earth's a globe.
Oh, please don't ask why we
yes,
can't see
that's correct.
Please don't ask why we can't see the sun at night.
That is correct, Craig. You have the right answer.
You'll work it out. Doesn't take too long.
1,000 points for Gryffindor, Craig. You got it right.
We've been over this, Good Vibes. Like we have a model that says that, right? Like you could be looking at the same moon in the daytime that I'm seeing in the nighttime. You're just looking through an atmosphere that has sun reflecting and refracting in all different ways, which of course creates the blue light that we see because it's bouncing off of everything in our atmosphere. You don't have that at night, of course.
I don't see the correlation between the moon in the day and night and seeing reflections in different positions. There's no actual ground position of a reflection. A reflection is dependent on the observer because it's the angle that the light has gone to reach into your eyes, and everyone's eyes are going to be in different positions.
Right.
But your point makes no sense, especially when you're comparing it to why do some people see the moon at day and some people see the moon at night. Well, that's because space is 3D and the Earth is a globe, and that doesn't relate to reflections from a light on a pond.
I think he might have been drawing a correlation between the idea of like an apparent position and an apparent viewpoint of the way the light reflects, like off when the sun is setting and you're on the beach and you see that line of light that's reflecting from the sun to your feet, all the way to you. But then someone else, 100 feet down the beach gets a different line. Someone else gets a different line. And it is kind of interesting because if you flew a drone out there, you wouldn't see a bunch of lines of reflections in the water. So it is an interesting.
No, the drone would have its own line.
That. I think he might have been drawing that if the moon has a similar phenomenon, I think might have been where he was going with it.
And also, if you just captured the moon on a video and if you continued with the drone, like just looking, like, I don't know, you'd have to have a high altitude balloon and just continue recording the moon. When you pop through into the less dense atmosphere at the top, you're gonna see that the moon actually shrinks and goes far away. It's not in it's not in the same position as you observed it from the ground.
Okay, yeah, that's another point as well, whether it changes in its angular size, you're saying. But
yeah, perspective requires that something local change in angular size by a large amount when it's farther away. That's perspective.
I mean, Well, if you guys want to go on that, it is a slightly different argument. I just wanted to say briefly, the interesting thing about the blue sky is that if you're on the ground in the daytime and the sky looks blue, but if you go up, like the 130,000 foot balloons, for example, at that same time you go up, the blue is gone. You just see the sun.
because the blue is the atmosphere.
No, Craig, Geo knows this. He's making the point for us.
Well, yeah. So I'm saying, but if the blue, if that's the effect and so on, I'm not necessarily contesting that at the moment. But whether the Earth is a sphere, which I understand the idea, if you have an atmosphere around a sphere and then the moon is very far away, I understand the idea of the day and night and being able to get an angle to the moon depending on what angle you're at, even though the light from the sun and how that's actually hitting the Earth would give you in day or night slightly different. But with a planar surface, you could have a very similar effect to where the people that are within the range of the blue sky are seeing the moon at a particular position. Somebody else that's on another position across the plane is in the night sky, and then they have another angle to the moon. It is conceivable that that same thing would occur in terms of the atmosphere of the blue being in effect in one zone but not the other, but still having visible access to basically above the GP point, meaning the moon, above the GP of the moon that they're both seeing from a different position.
Well, is that the answer to why it is that we see the same face of the moon also, like that light does magical bendy things?
Well, I never used those words or was implying that, but that's a slightly different part of it. Like one of it is just seeing it with the blue sky and the black sky, and then the other factor, like you're talking about the face, the phases and the face, that goes into slightly different aspects of it.
Have you thought about that? Because I think that's a major problem for flat Earth.
Yeah, it's the biggest.
Well, yeah, but I would imagine when you're saying that, you're assuming that the moon is a sphere above a planar surface at a set distance. Is that what because there's assumptions in when you're saying, if it was a sphere that was close and you're seeing it from like opposite sides, then obviously you'd be seeing opposite sides of the sphere. So it means one of two things. It means that it's not a sphere at that distance, meaning that part's an assumption.
Can I interject for a moment?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think, of course, we know it's a sphere because no matter where we see it, it's never been recorded otherwise, it's always got the shape of a circle in the sky, no matter where you view it. Now, if you were to view it from somewhere that was not directly below it, you're going to see an ellipse. And that ellipse is going to be formed in the direction based on your perspective, right? So we can be fairly confident that virtually everything that we look at in terms of celestial bodies are spherical because they always appear as circles when we look at them.
Well, yeah, the same with when you're talking about like star trails, right? On a globe, they make sense that they're circular, but if the Earth were flat and the star trails, if you're standing at the North Pole, then yeah, they'd be circular. But if you move away from the North Pole, they would form an ellipse now, if the Earth were flat.
That's true. 1,000 points for Gryffindor.
Do you have a different?
I'm clearly a Ravenclaw toon. Come on.
I'm giving them a Gryffindor.
About how they might not be spherical, like how the moon might not be spherical, Geo, or does the explanation myself and Craig and Toon sort of supplanted? Like, does that suffice or no?
If it's a dome-shaped sky or like your personal dome of perspective, that moon is always going to be facing wherever you are. You're only going to see that face anyway. It's not going to become oblate, and it doesn't mean that it's a sphere.
What's the optics and physics and geometry?
If the sky is I don't know, if the sky is like a hemisphere, if it's curved like an upside down fishbowl,
and all of the light moves in a specific bespoke way for each observer.
Can we let him
I think
finish?
he was getting close.
Yeah, can he finish his point, you guys? Sometimes like 20 seconds, we can give each other a little patience, right? Go ahead, good advice.
Yeah, I mean, well, there are lots of other magical things that they can't explain and can't see and can't hold and can't give me a sample of either. So, like, I don't see why this is any more magical than their ideas.
Would like radio waves count for that? Like, I can't give you a couple of radio waves, so it's magical?
No, that doesn't count.
Okay, so
what can't we give you an example of?
Give me a cup of gravity, please.
Well, I can't give you a cup of radio
the cup
waves.
would have gravity.
Oh,
I can't
gravity
give
in
you
a
a cup of
bucket.
radio waves, but if you drop the cup, it'll fall because of gravity. Good vibes.
Yeah. I'm holding a cup right now, and this cup is creating gravity because it has mass, therefore it has a gravitational field. So any cup is a cup of gravity.
Am I hearing a flat earther from the south?
Well, yeah. See, I think this is where you're transitioning good vibes into like, I don't really have an argument. It sounds like, I mean, I don't want to call you like a dishonest interlocutor, but like that's the sort of thing.
Oh,
like,
he's
that you would try to
dishonest.
design a test that's
He's
impossible to
dishonest.
sort of get out of the issue that's at hand.
No, he mentioned.
Well, literally, I observe perspective every single day, and I see the clouds descending down towards the horizon. It looks like they're curving. I know they're not. I know they're not below my feet or at my eye level. I know those clouds are actually super high. But so that's the type of illusion you're going to get. And I don't think that should stop at the clouds. I think that optical phenomenon is going to continue and it's going to keep going. And I don't think that you can claim that it's ever going to stop.
An optical phenomenon doesn't explain why things set bottom first, though.
Wait. Do the clouds get smaller as they move away from you?
Yeah, that's perspective.
Well, okay. So then does the moon get smaller as it moves away from you?
No, sir.
Yeah, it does. It does change in angular size by about 2%. And if the moon is 150,000 miles away, that angular size can be accounted for.
Isn't it 250,000 miles away?
280.
Yo, can you give me streaming permissions?
All you need is 150,000 miles away for the moon to shrink at 2%.
But the moon's 250,000 miles away.
Cool story.
I think he's saying over a planar surface, it would only have to be 150 to account for the angular size of 2%. Is that what you're saying, Napalm? Just trying to steal man? That over a planar Earth, it would only have to be.
I'm saying basically, if you look out over the distance, say you're on a beach, roughly your horizon is set at about 3 miles, right? So anything below your feet will appear to disappear from the bottom up at about 3 miles. Anything that's above your head, especially, that's due to perspective. You can do it.
The perspective
on small
doesn't make
scale.
things disappear bottom up, though.
For yourself. Yeah, it does. There's something called the vanishing point or the horizon line.
That's not perspective. You're just parroting mantras.
Very small scale.
It literally never happens.
I've done it on small scale. I demonstrated it. Many people have. It's
literally impossible for things to disappear bottom up on the flat surface.
Well, that aside, does the sun also does the sun also go through the 2% change?
I don't know about the sun. We were just talking about
the sun does not.
That's why I referred to that, and I had a conversation earlier about that. So
another thing,
math. I had Matthew Learns do the math for me, who's a math professor, and he said 150 miles. If we say that the light in the atmosphere tends to occlude, right? I mean, things in the distance tend to occlude. Let's say at about 3,000 miles, where the lights of the celestial bodies will tend to extinguish, especially the brighter ones, like the moon and the sun. So we said, let's say your perspective distance is about 3,000 miles, but your horizon line is set by the ground. When you're standing, an average human being is standing on the ground, is set at about 3 miles. If you extend that...
If 3,000 miles of atmosphere will occlude things, you would not see any stars.
What would you say your field of view, how much of your field of view would be encompassed by the beach and the ocean if you're staring straight ahead when you're looking out at the beach? How much of your field of view would you say is taken up by not only the sand but also the water, roughly?
50% if you're looking straight ahead.
Just under 50%, right? Not a full 50% because you do have atmospheric occlusion right at the horizon line. So it's just below 50%, right? Meaning you have this visual representation of the ground appearing to slightly rise up to go towards the middle of your eye.
This is so dumb.
Basically taking up the lower 50% of your vision. And even though we know
none of that explains
that land
things
is not actually rising up,
pure cope.
If we know that land is not actually rising up, it is a matter of perspective. So we're drawing lines basically from our feet upward to about 3 miles. And if we extend that out and we have things that are high above us, way high above us, much further above us than the ground is below us, those things can be very large. And as they go roughly about 3,000 miles, they're meeting that occlusion point that you have at 3 miles from the bottom portion of it. Mathematically, it just starts to appear to disappear due to perspective and the angles that substant based on what you can view.
That's not how perspective
works. Hold on. It wouldn't disappear bottom first, though. Perspective says it would disappear in totality until its angular size got too small. There is no explanation for things disappearing bottom first due to perspective. That just doesn't happen.
I'd like to see you explain.
You appears to move away further from you. It is only moving, let's say, about 3,000 miles. So it is only moving 3,000 miles, right? So it is appearing to disappear from the bottom up.
No, it doesn't appear to
not at all.
Up,
not at all.
Incorrect.
It would never
1,000 miles track with the GP where the moon would be for the observer that's directly under it when it sets for you.
Yeah. Yep. Because every observer has this occlusion point. So if you say that the horizon is set at 3 miles for each observer, draw that line basically saying 3 miles and it continues upward. So the portion of the sky that you see, if everything, let's say it's an equal distance, let's say the stars are all about 150,000 miles away. The portion of the sky that you're actually seeing could be something that is coplanar to you, but it's about 150,000 miles away, and you're seeing a much smaller portion than you actually think.
150,000 miles away?
Based on observations. Based on observations, if you think that you're on a globe. Because if you think you're on a globe, that's broadening way larger of a portion of the sky, right?
Where on a flat Earth are you going to get 150,000 miles away?
That's elevation, right? Like a star at your zenith in this calculus, what you're
follow
describing.
along with the conversation. That's the elevation.
Yeah.
Can you none of that explains things disappearing bottom first in the slightest?
None of this makes any sense. This isn't how perspective works.
It's not my fault you can't comprehend it. I fully
we can actually do the geometry. You can't
make observations at very small distances over known flat surfaces where we can have things appear to disappear from the bottom up. I mean, is this day one for you guys?
No, that's never happened.
You cannot have things disappear bottom first on a flat surface. It doesn't happen. No perspective explains that in the slightest.
That's funny because I've made observations. That's interesting.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, we live on a globe, so yeah, the observations on the globe would make things disappear bottom up. But
so you presuppose it, even if you can do it on very short.
No, I've measured here. I know it's a globe.
So how much curvature do you expect on a very small lake? How much is that curvature?
1 degree per 6 to 9 miles.
So why can we observe things that are 8 inches disappearing?
Because
only 100 yards.
Easy, because you didn't control for confounding variables. Easy, every time.
Yeah.
Oh, like perspective, and then
perspective is
also happens over long distance.
Perspective is easy to compute. There's no controlling for it. It's not a confounding variable.
I said the atmosphere.
What you're saying just makes zero logical sense.
Yes.
There's no reason to make things
so you're telling me the atmosphere can occlude things very close to the surface, is what you're saying?
The things could...
Refraction can make things, yeah.
On a flat Earth, things could never get close to the surface if they're very high in the sky. According to perspective.
The small scale...
You see, on a really hot...
The small scale recreations
on a really long road. You know how you can see the tarmac become sort of like a mirror, on a really hot day. Yeah, is that refraction? Hang on. Yeah, is that refraction? You think that's refraction? Do you?
That's reflection.
Yes, it is refraction.
It's reflection, Craig.
Well, and there's refraction because you see the waviness of the wave air above it.
It's literally
total
not
internal
reflection.
Total internal reflection.
Yep. Yeah. We call
That's how you can get bottom up obstruction.
No, you can't.
So
but according to, hold on, let me answer here. You've had a long monologue, Napalm. You had a long monologue, long monologue, long monologue. You've had a long monologue. Time to let somebody else talk. Time to let somebody else talk. Napalm, let somebody else talk.
Can Craig explain?
Napalm, let somebody else talk. So I can explain it. I can explain it here. This is simple.
Always refraction. Whenever you're looking, there's always refraction when you're looking through the atmosphere.
All right. The problem with having Craig in there is he won't shut up. Anyway, if everybody you want to go watch and do that, Napalm is a dick. He suggested that in Antarctica, I just walk out of camp and die. He's an asshole. Flat earthers are assholes. So many of them. He literally wished for me to die. So let's get a couple things straight. The law of perspective requires that the flat earth, a sun over flat earth, can never get close to the horizon. And he talked about 150,000 miles away. No flat earther claims the earth to be that large. It certainly can't be the case, because we do know for certain that there are actual distances. And so any point on this map or any point on the globe, you can get to within about 24 hours. If it's 150,000 miles away, you can't get there in an airplane in 24 hours. So we know that the flat earth or the globe is not 150,000 miles away. And every single star, the sun and the moon, all have a GP, a point on the surface of the earth, flat or globe, where that sun is directly above it. Everywhere on the surface of the earth, we have that. So since we can get to any point on the surface of the earth within 24 hours, and every single thing in the sky has a point directly underneath it, we can never get 150,000 miles away. According to this, we get somewhere around 20,000 miles. And according to the globe, you can only get 20,000 kilometers away from something. That's the antipodal point. So anyway, all of that to be said, that a celestial object, star, moon, sun, can never be significantly far away, but they are, even for flat earth, they have to be some rather large elevation. If they're in the clouds and it's December and the sun is above South America and it's in the clouds, you could not see it in North America, even at noon, too far away. It can't be in the clouds for flat earth. It has to be at a high elevation, and it has to match actual geometry. We can measure it. We can apply geometry. We can find out that on the equinox at 45 degrees north, the sun is at 45 degrees elevation. And the GP of the sun at local solar noon is the equator. So that's 5,000 kilometers. The sun has to be 5,000 kilometers high then. And that's why all the old flat earth books claimed about 5,000 kilometers, which is about 3,000 miles. That's why they did that, because they did one measurement. They didn't do multiple measurements and find out that you don't get the same elevation. They probably did and said, well, let's not talk about it. Anyway, so then you do this geometry, like, oh, well, you say it's not in its actual position. Like, yes, by like a half degree. And we have very good understanding of how that happens. The air pressure variation and the air temperature variation causes this to happen. And so all that we're saying is that the position of the sun or stars or moon varies by up to half a degree. But on this guy, let me get my camera back up here. I think it died. Come on. Hold on. I got to reboot the camera. I generally don't turn it off. That's maybe part of the problem. Come on. And I don't turn, because it's plugged in. So there we go. Okay. Zooming in on the map. This is the map that the flat earthers use. Very few of them diverge from this map. I mentioned it earlier. Down here it says 60 degrees per 60 nautical miles per degree. So it has to be this way. They couldn't be. He's not suggesting that it's 60 nautical miles per degree longitude, because you see here these are closer and these are farther away. So Gleason is not suggesting that his flat Earth map has some sort of property where this is the same distance as this, because that would make a cylinder. So, what was I saying? I was talking about the elevation and the position. And I had a yellow eraser, and I don't know where it is. So I got my earbud that looks a little bit like a boob. So it's not what it is. So if the moon is here, or the sun is here, it doesn't matter, right? And then it goes over to here. They're like, oh, it got occluded by the atmosphere. How did it get occluded by the atmosphere? When, this is what's hilarious. When you look this direction in the sky, you see what at night? You see stars. So the stars that can't be any closer than the firmament here, right? That they think the firmament is, the stars have to be here. So the sun that's significantly brighter than the stars you can't see because it's occluded by the atmosphere, but the stars that are farther away are not occluded by the atmosphere. This is the pure idiocy of flat Earth. He's trying to talk as if he's smart and then talk down at us as if he understands the topic better than we do. You've just made something completely nonsensical, and you dare talk down to us? You're an idiot. You're really, really stupid in order to think that. And it's pure Dunning-Kruger, right? They think that they're smart because they've all told themselves the same thing. Look, I've repeated it on a flat surface. No, you haven't. That was a lie too. Anyway, so you take that distance or that elevation, 3,000 miles, right? And you take this distance is known. It's right here on the map. It tells us the distance on this map along lines of longitude. So if you're sitting here, if you're in, let me try to get it. If you're here, if you're in Uruguay, right there, right in December, and here is really close. There's the sun at local solar noon, right next to it. And then 12 hours later, it's over here. Right now, it's 3,000 miles in elevation, or 5,000 kilometers in elevation, and it's how long? 10,000 kilometers? Well, the elevation, and it's up here, right? The elevation angle, the perspective application says that the elevation is going to be more than 10 degrees away from the horizon. So here's like, oh, are you telling me that near the horizon it doesn't occlude? Doesn't matter. It could never be near the horizon by the law of perspective. It could never be there. Like, oh, refraction. Okay, well, we know what refraction does in the air because even on flat Earth, near the ground, pressure is higher, and as you go up, pressure is lower. What happens to light when it goes through a gradient like that? It bends toward the thicker air, towards the higher index of refraction. So it's going to bend down. And what does that mean when it bends down? I've drawn it before. Flatties do not get this. All right, YD forever. I dare you to try to understand this. I don't think you're smart enough to understand this. I don't know if YD forever is even listening. But here's the challenge for you, flat earthers. Here's flat Earth. Sometimes you got to label it because just saying it, they don't get it. Okay, and I'm going to draw a building here. Okay, and we've got water. Right? The surface is water right here. Right? And then we've got our observer. Right here, we've got our observer. They're above the water. Okay, so now if they are 5 feet high with their eyeballs are 5 feet high and the waves are 1 feet high, where could the waves block the building? Well, only the waves right here could block the building. That's it. So it can't be waves if you're above the waves, right? Because now it could, if the wave was in front of your face, Yeah, but they're not. So here is the light. Okay, now if there was no refraction, I'm going to go for this point right here. Okay. They like to use refraction, but they never use it right. There is the straight line of sight, no refraction. Okay, but refraction will cause the light to bend down. So this light that started going this direction and would have otherwise gotten to the observer's eyes won't get there. What'll happen is it'll curve down, and that ray of light will hit the surface, and you will not see that beam of light that otherwise would have gotten to your eyes. You would not see it. But fortunately, that building outputs light in more than just one ray. And so the light that started this direction will also get bent down and enter their eye there. So you still see it. It doesn't stop you from seeing this point on the surface. You still see it. But it looks to you like it's coming from a higher angle. That's the angle that you think the building's coming at. This is, of course, greatly exaggerated. And so refraction will cause the building in normal circumstances to appear slightly higher, and you will see, even on flat Earth, you'll see slightly more of it than you otherwise would have. It doesn't cause blockage. But when they're like, oh, we were over a lake on a small scale and it blocked the bottom. And I said, you did not control for confounding variables. And they don't know the temperature above the water. The temperature of above the water was probably inverted from this, right? If it's a warm water, cool air, you can have the opposite, where you will have refraction causing bending the other direction, and then it will block something bottom up. But that's not the normal case. That's not the normal case. It happens very near the surface at times, but it doesn't happen above the surface. So when you're looking at that road that they were talking about and you see that mirror reflection above the road, that kind of thing can happen when you have that type of a gradient where the road is really hot and the air above it isn't. That's what you get there. So, anyway, let's get to this here. Basal problem, as always, being a dick. You're a dick. I'm not going to read it. Dirk Swizzler says, by the power of slide rule, I have the power of trigonometry. Did I always, this is my, I always have this and I'm always messing with it. So did you, I don't know if I was, oh, look, you can see through it. I don't know. Thank you. Tori Hanzo says, spank you for the years of content. Thank you, Tori. Burnham says you can only measure a flat earther's morality by looking at the ground. Their morality is a problem. Burnham again says a boy asked his father what emotion he felt destroying the flat earth map. The father replied, glee, son. That's a good dad joke there, Burnham. JSS Tiger says, what is the vertex of latitude angle of the flat earth? What is the vertex of a latitude angle on the flat earth? The vertex of a latitude angle. Let me look here. What's it between? So latitude is a circle here, right? So the vertex would probably be, if you're talking about like two different spots, the North Pole, maybe? I don't know. But no flat earther would dare answer. Real Arnold says, but thank you for that. I don't quite know what you're getting at. That Real Arnold says, because what's better than one incorrect useless map? 100 incorrect useless maps. Yes. So Geo likes to post these other maps. They're all globe projections. But if you think that any of them are the actual non-projected thing, right? Globers or flat earthers think that this is the non-projected Earth. Right? They actually think that. Even though This is how stupid flat Earth is. It says it's a projection right there. Flat Earthers are so dumb, they think this is the non-projected map of the Earth, even though it says right on it that it's a projection. You're stupid. You're so gullible, dumb sheep. It's amazing how Flat Earth has collected together a group of people that have the same disability and character traits. Like, it's just weird. It's weird. Anyway, to recap, it was not a good day for Flat Earth. Flat Earthers, contrary to Napalm's claim about saying you can't measure the shape of the ground by looking at the sky, Flat Earthers generally did not hold that position before TFE. A subset of them changed their position after TFE to make that claim, which, of course, I have. There is a mathematical proof showing that they are wrong. You can, in fact, determine the shape of the ground by looking at things in the sky. But I measure the ground, and this is what I got for predictions from people. 3 of them. John said using the globe, using this particular formula here, 15.78 kilometer. Omnivore used the Gleason map, got 17.12 kilometers. And John used concave and got 15.78 kilometers. Now, how did he get that for concave? Well, easy. Concave Earth. The one thing concavers get right is the map and the dimensions. They actually get that right. It's the same as the globe, except the inside of it instead of the outside of it. But on a sphere where it's, just the conceptually in geometry, there's no thickness to the surface of the sphere, right? You're just on the other side of it. So distances on concave Earth at high elevation would be different, but that's really challenging to measure accurately. So anyway, there's that. Craig is going to continue, so feel free to pop over there. I might join in for a few minutes with him. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not going to play the Dick Wayne song. Oh, my gosh. I don't think I have a Brian Leakey. I haven't seen him for a while. But man, how desperate. Think how desperate Flat Earth has to be. That rather than answer the question, right? I'm happy to answer any question about the globe, right? And of course, if you ask me a question about the globe, Flatties, and you don't have an answer for Flat Earth, that's a problem for you, not for me. It's like, give me a bucket of gravity or a cup full of gravity. We don't claim that you should be able to get a cup full of gravity. So why would you think that that's a problem for us? It's not. That's not our model. That's a straw man. I mean, there's no word other than asshole for that guy, for Napalm. That's all he is. He's just a horrible person. Why is it so many flat earthers are horrible people? Anyway, I don't know. So dumb. Okay. Oh geez, that's just is that a video? Okay. I don't think I can play that one. Okay, here we go. I'll play this. Anyway, people, thank you very much. I got to work tomorrow. I hope you have a good night, and we'll see you all next time. And go over and say hi to Craig for me while you're there. Where I missed it. All right, here it is.
I'm here. I'm so fucking hot. How about a real flat?
Okay, nah, that song sucks. Hold on.
I'm here.
But it's gonna play anyway. All right, sorry, it's gonna play.
You'd like a real flat earth. It takes a real man. How about a real flat earth? You need a real man, flat earth. You'd like a real man. It takes a real man. The world is mine, so fucking hot. I never stop as long as I can feel your money. I'm making moves around the pole. I take it off, but I would never lose control. The world is yours, you fucking hot. Open your mind, we're gonna take it to the top. Tonight your night, stand up and eat the Wrigley shout. Go wild and crazy party, I just word salad it out. Switch. I'm not David Weiss, bitch. I'm not David Weiss, bitch. I'm so fucking brilliant.
Hey, the Earth's not a spinning ball, bro. It's a flat, stationary plane.
I'm so fucking brilliant.
I'm in the higher percentile of IQ.
You would get demolished. I would wipe the floor with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Literally, I would demolish that dude.
Oh, okay. My 160 IQ disagrees with you.
I'm not David Weiss, bitch. I'm not David Weiss, bitch. The world is mine, so fucking hot. I never stop as long as I can feel your money. I'm making moves around the pole. I take it off, but I would never lose control. Just like the center of a ferrous cell, image of a magnet hot. The world is yours, you fucking hot. Open your mind, we're gonna take it to the top. Tonight your light, stand up and eat the Wrigley shout. Go wild and crazy party, I just word salad it out. Switch. I'm not David Weiss, bitch. I'm not David Weiss, bitch. I'm so fucking brilliant. I'm not David Weiss, bitch. I'm not David Weiss, bitch. How about a real flat earth? You need a real flat earther. You'd like a real flat earth. It takes a real man. How about a real flat earth? You need a real man, flat earth. You'd like a real man. It takes a real man. How about a real flat earth? You need a real man, flat earther.
They'll claim I'm stupid, claim I'm dumb, when my IQ literally proves that that's not the case.
I was curious, what is a full moon and what is a new on your model?
I think it's probably like a magnetic cycle, and just like the center of a Faraday cell image of a magnet, it's just completely black. It's actually just pure inertia in the center, the Faraday cell image of a magnet. I think that's what it is. It just actually goes into its inertial state, then charges back up, and once it becomes like etherically displaced again, you start to see it charge up throughout a cycle, and then it goes back.